Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back for our second episode on this recording session. Last episode we did a priest arena run and didn't get anywhere in the arena, but we did get one victory afterwards. Today we work on Paladin and Warrior. More than likely we'll get this done too. So Paladin and Warrior, is that what we said? I just said it. Paladin and Warrior. Trying to get above 235 gold. We want above that by the end of today's recording session. Let's see. Let's start with Warrior. Where's my Paladin? Here's my Paladin, right here. The Murlocs. Let's start with them. Yeah. Was a total mess in the last episode. Hopefully I won't be so scatterbrained and difficult to keep sentences going. I've since splashed water on my face.
You asked for it.
Tried to with honor. Fix whatever was going on with me. Maybe I'm still recovering from my sickness. Probably am. Do not need Kel'Thuzad as a first card draw. Chaos Theory. I think I've played this one. A lot of these character guys seem like I've played them before.
I am ready.
Next turn I can play these Murlocs.
Get down!
It is kind of important to have all these out and ready. Let's see. Do I want to play them now? I guess I do.
Job done.
Kel'Thuzad, waiting until like the 8th turn to play, it would be pretty difficult.
Job done.
I am slightly afraid that if I go too fast and don't find some replacement games for FTL and Hearthstone whenever they end, that I potentially could not have enough. I don't see really how we'd get there. No.
Job's done.
I don't know why I feel the need to do 3 things. I've promised to do 3 releases every day. I could try to do more. I've seen people who are releasing 4 or 5 things on certain days, but I don't see why. There's a certain level there. There's a certain level. I mean, if this was a team and not just one person, it would make sense to say let's see.
Reporting for duty.
It makes sense that there would be 5, 6, 7 things being released in a day, but even when you have like Geek and Sundry, I don't think they're releasing 5 things a day. I think they're releasing maybe 1 thing a week, and those are highly polished things.
Oh
Powering up. Portals online.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. I could certainly put out if I just had hard limits and said at 1 hour always we will be done with I will finish
Reporting for duty. To battle!
an episode, and then I was like live streaming 8 hours daily of play, then I could break those up into 8 episodes a day. I could see that. I could see 8. Although 8 is probably too much to promise. I'd probably stick further back to 6. But that's not going to be the greatest content.
For
Reporting
justice.
for duty.
I don't think the landscape for video game people for the people who want to watch people playing video games and talking about them on YouTube, I don't think the landscape is so diverse that there is a huge chunk of people that are going to be interested in Hearthstone, and then a huge chunk of people are going to be interested in FTL, and a huge chunk of people that are interested in Isaac, and then there's literally no overlap at all. And so, to add 2 more, the thought of adding a couple more,
Minions, serve for justice. Soldiers of the cold dark. Obey the call.
adding a couple more series is kind of just buying into this false thought that there are just entire groups of people who have no interest whatsoever in watching my 3 series, but they do have interest in watching other videos I might make. I don't really buy that. I think it is much more. There is a lot of people who have an overlap of 1 or 2 of the games on my series. Even maybe a few people who would have an overlap on 3 of the series. And I am disserving them the most, or poorly serving them the most, if I turn around and give them 2 more series that they don't have time to watch. And in a sense, I'm already kind of doing that, because when I'm doing series like the Talos Principle and Portal, I'm giving you these massive dumps of things. Just watch at your leisure. If you were behind already, now I've given you a whole bunch more to watch. Eventually people are just going to get frustrated and say it's not worth it to watch any of them. That's certainly what my experience is when watching several TV series. I've just been like, you know what, this is going to take too long and it's not making any real progress. That is also kind of my argument against stretching out FTL and just continuing with it. Because once I've plateaued, I've plateaued. It sucks to have to make that admittance to yourself to say, you know what, I just am not a good enough player to do 100% of a game perfectly on the first try, so I can put it in a video series.
My shield for Argon.
But that's just the truth of it. I'm just a regular player. I'm not a super expert player.
Reporting for duty.
Well,
To battle!
My hand is too full.
Well, I've lost this one. I like playing the Murlocs decks. I don't know if they're really are the best deck. They aren't if I had better cards. That was a good deck to play to do the Meek Shell and Inherit the Earth though, since Murlocs are all pretty low mana cost.
Garrosh versus Rexar.
Let the hunt begin. Victory or death!
I'll keep the weapon. I like this weapon. 2 uses, 4 damage, 50% chance of going to hit the wrong person. Which isn't too much of a problem for me. Get it out early, it won't matter. Even if it does hit the wrong guy, it's still gonna do a pretty good amount of damage. Might also be able to make the argument
Time for a little blood.
that doing old games, some of the old games, I'm gonna be a little bit less passionate about. FTL, in respect, probably should have been a little bit less passionate about it because. Well, it's just older and it wasn't my favorite game. Now that's not true for Portal. And then the exact opposite happened for the Talos Principle. I was passionate about playing it, and now that I've played it, I am definitely less passionate about ever playing it again. Let's see what happens here. That is always awesome. So I have 4 for Death Fight. Let's just go ahead and end the turn. But there are games I want to get on this. A lot of games. I want to, over the course of this year, if not a little bit longer than a year, take the effort to upload old games so that it looks like on my channel I've been uploading for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Just keep that appearance up. Alright. I guess this is what I want to do. Oh yeah, that one. Alright, let's see what happens. Hit this.
Job's done.
That kind of sucked. Just get more and more out. Prove the only way I really can that I have really committed to this. I'm not some fly-by-night creator that's going to up and disappear one day. Well, at the very least, what I want to prove is that if I do up and disappear, it's because I have either been absconded with by someone or died. worked pretty well. It's almost like I planned it. I didn't plan it, but I almost like I did. Let's see, for 7 I can do this guy and this guy. Or this guy and this guy. Maybe I should do this guy and this guy. It's just desperately trying to get rid of my... Let's see. Alright, fine, we'll do this and this.
Job done.
But yeah, as I'm thinking about it, I think I'm gonna probably put a bunch of puzzles out and then run out of puzzles. And so I'm gonna have to expand myself to other games to adjust for that, just because there won't be any.
The gates are open.
Yet. Because I've done the Talos Principle. Portal should be released at this point.
To my side.
Portal 2 possibly already released at this point. There is a game called The Witness that's coming out at some point in this close future. And when that happens, let's see.
Wanna blow something up?
Let's see.
Tazdingo! Yes. Farewell. Farewell.
So that's 4 games in maybe 2 months of 2015 of puzzle games, depending on whenever The Witness is released, if it even is released in 2015. Do I, on the other hand, know of any roguelike or roguelike-like games, whichever it is, coming out? I think there's one out already called The Darkest Dungeon. But then that's just another one of problems. Is that things are gonna get more and more expensive unless people start donating to my Steam wallet for new games, and at almost a complete, very hard stance at the moment about new games. It's just until the Talos Principle pays off what it cost to buy the Talos Principle, I'm gonna have a very, very hard time justifying buying the other game. So, either the 2 options for any viewer here, if you want me to do a new game, is A, either gift it to me on Steam, then almost guarantees you a new series, whatever game you gift me.
I must protect the one.
Friend me on Steam first. I think you probably have to, but I would say friend me on Steam first. That way, you know, you can see what games I have, which at the moment is the Talos Principle and nothing else. All my other computer games are not Steam games. I'm kind of new to computer gaming in general. A lot of games I'm playing for the first time now, or I played them as their own standalone, not the Steam versions. So I think on the comparison, it's smarter to bring out this guy than this guy, even though he has more attack and all that. I want to get all my Murlocs out at the same time if I can. Probably wouldn't have mattered, but let's play it safe. I would like another sci-fi game like FTL, but it probably isn't gonna be and shouldn't be like the same gameplay style. I didn't really like the gameplay style of FTL that much. Still kind of looking for medium to slow games, super fast games, games that are going to make me run around and jump and shoot a lot. Not really my bag. A lot of computer games like that require you to actually use a mouse and keyboard, and I'm not an expert in any sense with that.
Reporting for duty. To battle! Job's done.
So I'd be very slow. Borderlands is kind of an example of that. I've played Borderlands. I had fun with it. A lot of the fun with it, if you're gonna play co-op, is to have the right team. If you don't have the right people on your side, you're gonna not really enjoy it as much. But I can play it. I should have killed that guy. What was I thinking? That was a mistake. So interested in getting rid of my mana wraith.
I must safeguard the land.
So I don't know what space game I'd want to play. I could do Kerbal Space Program, but that game takes forever, and it's still in beta. What is this card? Whatever you want. Shuffle this minion into your deck. Interesting.
To battle!
So Kerbal Space Program might get like a spotlight if I want to play it once, but I'm not gonna make a series out of it. It's still in beta. They need to put more of a game in this simulator, and that's really what it is. It is a simulator at the moment. Oh man, if I could have kept them alive for just one more turn.
Minions, serve soldiers of the cold dark. Obey the call of Kel'Thuzad.
I don't want to really play.
I dream and the world trembles.
So this card goes back in your deck. That means, in theory, you can kill it every turn. It will go back in your deck. If you only have one card, you draw it again.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, if anybody has any suggestions about what would be a good space type game, I'd like to see a space thematically running another ship like FTL. That's far away from like the Star Wars game. Now, The Force Unleashed, I played that on Xbox 360. I kind of liked the first one. I didn't really like the second one. And I don't know if it would play. A lot of games that are just run around beating on the same character over and over again and grinding and all of that don't really play as well as on video very well. They just get repetitive, look boring. It's way more interesting to actually be playing the game than it is to watch somebody else play it in a lot of those situations.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
Then you have the other thought, like Uno and poker online, and I suppose that would be a good replacement for Hearthstone. If I just wanted to quit doing Hearthstone, I would see what kind of poker game they have for because Xbox 360 has one, which is pretty cool, and I played a lot of it. Could also do like the Jackbox and do a trivia questions. At least go through them once. But I also have to make sure I have permission to put all these videos online. So when I look at the list that I look at, which is a website called We Let's Play that links you to the actual posts of websites that say you have permission. The way it's listed are publisher companies, and then it lists like what that publishing company is most famous for. So you kind of have to recognize who made what game, and then go and make sure that that game is included in their permission, because it is feasible that a company would say that's the whole Nintendo thing that they're doing, is they're saying we're going to give you a list of games, and if it's not on the list, then you can't put it out.
Reporting for duty.
And that list is really, really short at the moment. Where most companies, though, if they're going to have an open attitude, they're going to have a very open attitude. They're going to see how doing Let's Plays is just basically free advertising for them. It does make me kind of wonder, though, about the Jim Sterling. He just seems to do every single game possible, but he also lives in the UK, so, or London, England.
Versus
I
Jaina.
think he probably lives in England, but
You asked for it.
at the very least I think he lives in the UK, so he might be under different laws. Somewhere out there is some country that you could live in that would say you don't have to follow any of the dumb copyright laws that the United States companies set up, but odds are that country is not worth moving to. That is a bigger question, a question much bigger than me, is that how can we convince countries to stop kowtowing to big corporation?
Put this apple on your
Yeah.
head.
And we're gonna have to do something eventually.
Job done.
Honestly, I think the right thing to do would be to say, if someone cannot show up as the boss of a facility, then that business, that corporation is too big and needs to be split up. So basically say you can only at maximum have mom and pop shops. If you as the owner do not live within a certain mileage of where your one store is, and you don't show up there and work at least 20 hours a week, or at least sit around and pretend like you work for 20 hours a week, then your business is too big, needs to be split up, and somebody else needs to be it. Once we got away from the thought of your boss is the guy in the back office or the corner office, and it became this situation where your boss is this faceless person you've never met, never seen, never spoken to, and he is 5 to 10 levels of management above you. So if you wanted to talk to the owner of the corporation, you'd have to talk to your boss. The boss would have to talk to their boss for 5 to 10 layers. That's really an exaggeration. 10 layers of management. It's not. It's probably somewhere that's true. It's just ridiculousness, because it's just an amalgamation of entities. It's not really this one's gonna do 2 damage to everybody, so let's go ahead and attack this guy. It's not really the same. But yeah, that's my crazy thought, is that we should limit the amount of power and wealth one individual can have, and the amount of businesses one can own. We all already sorta kinda do that, because at some point for one reason or another, a corporation stops growing and giving all the money to the owner and starts selling stocks and bonds, and for those stocks and bonds, it's giving money to theoretical other owners. So if you own stocks in like Walmart, theoretically you are the owner and the boss of Walmart by some very small percentage, but it's not true. The board is in charge. The board sets up what will be voted on when you by the shareholders, and they set up how everything is awarded on the voting ballot. So it is, imagine if it were election time and the party that was in charge had complete control about what everything would be, every single thing that would be voted on, and how the wording on the voting ballot would be. Well, the party in charge would get everything they want, and it's called jerry-rigging, and it kind of does happen a lot in the United States.
Something needs tinkering?
There's all kinds of examples where it's like they'll say vote yes on Proposition 18, and then they will word Proposition 18 to say a yes vote means that you are saying no to giving free food to starving children. And so you're saying, but they'll call the name of the proposition the Starving Children Relief Fund. So they'll word things intentionally so people are confused. They'll make it so people think they're voting one way and they are actually voting the other. It is just a ridiculous thing, and that is true for jerry-rigging in political elections, and it's true for jerry-rigging in shareholder votes, which it's not even elections. Sometimes they'll put we recommend these people be on the board, and the people listed are the people that are already on the board or the friends of the people on the board.
Coming for master. Job's done.
Yeah, so hard limits. Hard limits is what I say. Make every single person be limited to only one business.
Put this apple on your head.
Think what that would just do to like McDonald's. And McDonald's is not even a good example because McDonald's really is a franchise thing where there's a corporate McDonald's and the corporate McDonald's really just takes profits from all the local franchisees but don't really even have that much of a risk invested in it. On top of which they sometimes finance the loans that people have to take out to start a franchise at McDonald's. So McDonald's corporate is actually just acting as a bank is gaining interest on loans. And banking in itself is just at this point, you cannot argue to me that banking is not just downright an immoral concept. It is lending people money, which is acceptable. It's acceptable to lend people money, but they're doing it at such high interest rates and with so many schemes and tricks going around, so that you end up paying 4 or 5 times the amount back. It's ridiculous. If I was, as an individual, going to go to my friend and say, I hear you need some money, here's the money, pay me back, you know what I would say is the next step? When you can. When a bank goes to a person and says, I hear you need some money, here's some money, pay me back 4.5 times as much plus interest over the course of 3 years. Oh, and if you miss one payment, I get everything that you bought with that money that I can repossess.
Job's done.
Why did I do that? I'm an idiot, that's why. That was waste. Sure, you can take a little interest, you can take a little flat fee, but if you're getting anything more complicated than a little bit of interest and a little flat fee on a loan, you're getting into money lending. And one thing I do definitely seem to agree with Jesus with is that we both don't like money lenders. That's what he turned the table over in the temple, because there were money lenders in it, defiling the sanctity of the temple. He also said, I believe, maybe this isn't actually in the Bible, that it's harder to get a camel through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. But there's some translation differences there. That get a camel through the eye of the needle was actually originally get a camel to crawl through a small doorway that were, I think, at the gates of cities. So you could do it, but you had to basically convince the camel to crawl on its knees, which camels are pains in the butt usually, and then trying to convince it to do something uncomfortable that it don't want to do. It's probably a nightmare.
Tazdingo! Yes!
I'm still being a little quiet. Part of that is just nothing's really happened. All I've been doing has been playing Portal. That's all I've been doing. Struggling with trying to wrap up FTL and Isaac, and in all honesty, I wanted to finish either FTL or Isaac or both before I started Portal, but you know what? I'm so far ahead. As long as I can, as long as I have a few days before the last episode is scheduled
Pass me that
to
archive
air, I
scanner.
could just go back and play it. So I could take a month off basically from FTL and Isaac, come back and start recording, and there would be no break whatsoever.
I hope you like my invention.
As far as anyone else could tell. Hey, his hand may be full.
My hand is too full.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that works. It might help for me to take a little bit of a break.
Job done.
But
hand is too
even
full.
coming back to FTL, it's not. I've given him so many cards and he's not being able to do anything with it. It's interesting. But it's not gonna really change much. I'm still plateaued. It's still time to wrap it up and stick it on the back burner. Every now and then I probably will still play FTL because it helps. I can play FTL while I'm uploading. So if I have a bunch of uploads from something else, I can still play FTL. I can play Isaac while I'm uploading. So if I have a bunch of uploads from something else, I can then do the same.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
It's just all my guys. Alright, let's see. If I give them all +2 health, and then this. This, I've gone down to 5. How much damage does this do? 4. So I should have this in the bag. It'd be kind of hard. Even though he's got all these cards. I mean, how can you have so many cards and not be able to play them? I mean, I could just throw out Kel'Thuzul next turn and win.
I wonder.
If he kills every single card on my deck, then I won't win next turn. But I'll probably win the next turn. Is this guy Logan here, just trying to let me win? Who knows? Logan's Run. If you've never seen Logan's Run, I would suggest you check it out. It's one of these really early, like early 80s, maybe 70s movies, sci-fi movies. It is referenced a lot still to this day for its twist reveal, or surprise reveal for the time. And there were several shows like that, like Sword on Green is another one that is commonly still referenced to this day. I'm not saying you're gonna love it,
For
but
justice!
it's one worth at least knowing what happens, and it does have some of that great incidental nudity of the early 80s. They used to do that a lot on sci-fi channels. There was a bit more censorship going on, and so and a lot more free love going on in that day too. So it wasn't considered all that strange that you would see some incidental natural nudity too. You gotta love natural nudity before they started. Everybody in Hollywood started getting facelifts and other work done and looking much younger and much more what is quote unquote attractive to the common man. So yep, appreciate some old sci-fi stuff. Logan's Run, Soylent Green, Barbarella, they're gonna be cheesy, they're gonna feel silly, but they're worth watching. Sit through them once, yep. Anyway, I think we've done enough, if we haven't done 5, but we've done 5. Next episode, we just need to work on Priest and Warlock ranked runs and we'll be done. And so we're done with this episode. I keep saying done for some reason. As always, I ask that you like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to connect with me on social media links such as Twitter or Google Plus or Battle.net or Steam, all that information is down in the description. And we're done, so have a good evening. Done.